it doesn't address the root cause of the cost of living.
A real price taker.
Obviously, as a newlywed, I think this is quite a good initiative.
Singapore as an entertainment hub, which is why all the Swifties are very happy in Singapore.
Do you guys think that it will be helpful to improve the low birth rates in Singapore?
Welcome to another episode, Roundtable Coffee Conversation. This time around, I suppose, post-budget 2024, the government had proposed and presented and hopefully implemented, etc. With me today for Kopi and more is Ron. Say hi to the viewer.
Hello.
And Wen Xuan.
Hi everybody, Wen Xuan here.
Okay, now we cut to the chase. That you have seen a lot. On multiple fronts. Your MP is having, dialogues with residents as well. But for now, I think a lot of people just really want to just say, that's long term lah. What's in it for me? So Ron, let's get down to it.
Yeah, I think there were a couple of areas that I was particularly interested in. One that I was quite surprised is obviously as NS-men. I think this time round,
my son are very happy.
Already,
also,
yeah. I think there are some credits that will be given to us. I think that's comforting. I think the other portion would be some of the support for new parents. Obviously, as a newlywed, I think this is quite a good initiative, or some measures that the government has introduced. I think it's also quite in line with some of the other policy areas that they have done over the past couple of months. I think namely, more support for the fathers on paternity leave. I think adjusting that statutory amount. And I think particularly for this budget itself, the support for new parents potentially that is waiting for the BTO. Some rental support. So I think that's quite a comforting area that I think this budget will address. A
lot of attention on younger couples these days, especially trying to get them to start families and all that. We have, like as Ron mentioned, a lot of new policies in place with childcare support and also with the housing policies. Also want to get your thoughts on, do you guys think that it will be helpful to improve the low birth rates in Singapore? So that's one point about low birth rates in Singapore and the support. And my second interest point was actually about reskilling. So I think a lot of attention on reskilling, particularly we saw examples with the support for IT students getting diplomas, etc. But also for the particular age group of the people around 40. I mean, nothing in it for me at this point.
Really?
Separate demographic.
Everybody got lah.
Yeah, when I'm 40, I'm not 40 yet.
No.
Still a way to go.
Some goodies, but not all.
Yeah, some goodies in the future.
Yeah, I thought everybody got some form of goodies, except
true.
Their pets, the cats and dogs. That might come later on.
Reskilling specifically, not there yet. Yeah,
it's quite true.
Yeah, so I was wondering what you thought about those things.
Okay, I suppose as an analyst again, I would say, having observed Singapore's growth and transformation, we're working in Singapore for the past over 3 decades already. Let's say the last 50 years is about making Singapore what it is today. Job for everybody, quality jobs, roof over their head, continue to encourage businesses to generate employment, so you have constant upgrading, reskilling to some extent. And now we reach a point where we talk about many of the issues in which low fertility rate, I think the only one lower is Korea, but at least the population is much larger. So going forward really is not just we have this year is very important political change as well, the first time in over 2 decades. It's really an agenda by the new leader in terms of how they envision Singapore will be, say, for the next 50 years. So it's really about, from cradle to honestly death, and in between, work, play, and enjoy some more fun things as well. Bottom line is, what's in it for me? It really matters. But from a policy standpoint, having planned for future so that they can have something for everyone to make sure that we all age very actively, whether it is uncle like me walking 10,000 steps every day, at the end, but obviously self-defeating because the end goal is a cold beer. But that's the quality of life one look at. Or starting young, how to reduce the stress, not even family side, but with the young kids, IT student, can they afford their first BTO flat? I always say, make sure that you get good quality job that start you off on, a well-paying job, saving, etc. down the road. Career progression is better mapped out in that sense. We hopefully, with a small population, still will be able to generate quality growth, although we have a small population. And how do we renew the population with calibrated immigration policies? So that's really, I would say, the nutshell of how this budget and the budget to come differs from the past. I mean, we are what we are today already. It's much harder to identify winners now, which is why a lot of people say, hey, Uncle Song, you don't get that kind of, focus on industry that will bring Singapore forward. I say, yeah, the focus now is on people, skill. Yeah. Because technology is changing so fast, you cannot identify winner. But if people can adapt and they can, and all we want to make sure is Singapore stay relevant, businesses will come, industry will come, and then we move. Whether it is having Singapore as an entertainment hub, which is why all the Swifties are very happy in Singapore.
Swiftnomics, they call it. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Taylor Swift and economics.
I mean, it's a mini economy in terms.
Yes.
I call it the Eras economy and the multiplier effect on Singapore, just from this particular one.
So I think a lot of talk on the ground about how this 2024 budget is very social focused. But I think, as what you have mentioned, the social and the economy kind of goes together hand in hand.
Yes, very important. Because without the economy, social engineering also become more challenging. It's a lot easier when people are sense of security about jobs, their health at every stage of their life, whether you're starting out, joining the education system, thinking what you want to do, to I don't think we even need a retirement age to think about, because everybody can stay active at this juncture. So uncertainty has been more compressed, and that certainly makes, say, finding winning industry or winning sectors harder and more challenging. So especially against the backdrop of the rapid technology changes that can make some jobs redundant far more quicker than the others.
I personally think that's very important, the adaptability, especially I think when you're referring to the more unprecedented, a lot more uncertainty in the world and the way we operate. I guess that's where I also saw, through this budget, the reskilling portion of the SkillsFuture. I thought that was quite interesting, obviously because a lot of upgrading, upskilling would have normally come from either yourself reading or or actively paying out of your own pocket to learn.
I suppose it's really, again, you can offer a buffet. How well will all this take up be? Because really, I can offer you the courses over there. Are you interested? Are you motivated?
Which I thought that was quite interesting, where some of these programs are heavily subsidized, and they give employers a chance to also support and have the capacity to then take on some of these guys and refresh some new blood along the way.
But for me, really is adoption, very important. I mean, we are here in a little nice flowery place. I mean, this is a course in IT, in flower arrangement as well. Sometimes I go give talk at school, and I always use example whether it's e-gaming, which the teacher will say, "Oh, wait, don't talk about e-gaming." I said, "Yeah, there's the interest. It's a business on its own as well." Or I remember one time, using Korean drama as an example. It is an economic activity on its own, and you create a lot of multiplier from that as well. I mean, here, this is ITE and flower arrangement, nursing, or media, or even financial services, etc. as well.
So just mentioning to Ron about the cost of living in Singapore, very hot topic. And we were talking about also the CDC vouchers that's being handed out, and we were wondering I was wondering if there would be an over-reliance of the people at some point, because you expect these sort of handouts
to continue,
to continue in the
you give
coming
$10,
years.
Next week can give me $20, I give you 15, okay, the following week $20, yes, that's very true, Very interesting, you complain about the high cost of living, pay more for this, but still happily consume.
But you still go out,
you still go out, hey, are we going to Japan this year end? Ticket going up, okay, you got deal here, got deal there. So that's a good problem. It's a good a first world problem.
I have two observations about the CBC vouchers. So one, it doesn't address the root cause of the cost of living, so
Correct.
it's still expensive. And second observation, I think there's certain desirability that comes with living in an expensive place, right? So, I mean, to put it bluntly, there's a certain status also that comes with it. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's desirable from the government standpoint to really push down the to decrease the cost. Yeah.
True,
So I don't know
true.
what you think about that.
True. Fair observation. I suppose that again, when we look at cost of living, very clear. I mean, the average headline inflation, core inflation, roughly around 2%. You don't get the kind of distortion or supply disruption that causes prices to spike up. So we have supply disruption caused by various reasons. And food security suddenly becomes a national country.
A national interest.
Yeah, national interest. So we have seen, prices moved up for various different reasons. So it's not just us in Singapore here. We're a price taker. I mean, there's only so much barramundi we can farm, in the water over here. So we still depend on imports from abroad. So as a result, we source from more places. Far-flung places, cost goes up.
The point about the affordable housing, I think that's something I myself can resonate. I'm sure Wen Xuan also can resonate because I think both of us were waiting for our BTO, which we were quite lucky that we were able to get a ballot for and a number for. But long story short, I thought, I think the point that you mentioned where the accessibility within the country, the transportation network is very key, I guess, because no matter, I mean, we are not a big island.
Correct.
I mean, from end to end, it just take 1 or 2 hours, I think, maximum. I think it's important that the connectivity actually is there because it doesn't matter roughly, I think, where you are staying within the island. You will be not far away from a MRT. It's just maybe plus minus an additional time needed to prepare. So I think that point really, I think, for the younger generation, I myself specifically, I think I'm quite thankful for, which I think was is a very deliberate move, whether from a policy standpoint, but definitely an area that I benefited from.